Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to a very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. It is our 2022 Year in Review special. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Maybe awaiting, perhaps, the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Wednesday night for another special edition. This time, the TXN Sports World Year in Review special. But for right now, it's all about 2022 in the world of professional wrestling. We'll give our thoughts on and share our standout favorite moments of this year. And then we will also have our awards. Breakout Star of the Year, Moment of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Comeback Wrestler of the Year, Pay-Per-View of the Year, Match of the Year, Female Wrestler of the Year, and Male Wrestler of the Year. Get into all that. But first, let's dive on into the year that was 2022 in professional wrestling. Wow. It was a tale of two halves. The first half of the year, when it comes to WWE, most of it was good. Most of it was honestly. But the second half, much better than the first. Of course, when it comes to the start of the year, we started the year with a pay-per-view right off the very get-go of the year, the very first day of this year, the day one pay-per-view from the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID-19. He couldn't work. He was scheduled to defend the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. But Roman was out, and Brock Lesnar was inserted into the big main event that was for the WWE Championship. It was a fatal four-way. It turned into a fatal five-way. And Brock Lesnar went on to win the title, ending Big E's title run. And then we fast forward just 4 weeks after that to the Royal Rumble, the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis. A much maligned show, obviously. Many felt the quality of the show was rather pedestrian, of which we agreed with that. But it still had its fair share of moments. I mean, we saw Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley battle for the first time ever for the WWE Championship. And Bobby Lashley won the title thanks in part to Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. And then just about an hour and a half later, Brock Lesnar comes out and wins the men's Royal Rumble match. And Ronda Rousey went on to win the women's Royal Rumble match. So, not the best Rumble event. And then in February, for the first time in WWE history, we saw the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. They took the Elimination Chamber overseas. And Brock Lesnar would regain the WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber, setting up that huge unification match at WrestleMania. I don't think they did anything in March. So I think we could get right into WrestleMania. 2-night event from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Of course, before that, we witnessed something that I know Michael Bullock was very excited about. His man, The Undertaker, taking his rightful place into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2022, and only went on to give the greatest Hall of Fame induction speech we have ever heard. Go out of your way to see it if you haven't already. The standing ovation that he got, the greatest standing ovation of all time, surpassing that of Hulk Hogan back in 2005 when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Hogan got an epic ovation. Taker's was even more so. And then at WrestleMania, history was made in a number of ways. Night one, better than night two. Night one featuring the surprise return of Cody Rhodes to WWE. And then he and Seth Rollins went on to steal the damn show that first night, had the fight of the night. Also on that first night, we saw the EST, Bianca Belair, become the new Raw Women's Champion, defeating Becky Lynch in another show stealer match. Also on that same night, we saw tragedy. Rick Boogs, injured, tore his quad, was finished for the rest of this year. He should be back sometime next year. And also on that same night, we saw something we thought we would never, ever see again. Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle a match. And it was a no-holds-barred match against Kevin Owens, which Stone Cold went on to win. And then night 2 of WrestleMania featured Pat McAfee in a win over Austin Theory. And then for any of us, for an average man, that would have been good enough. But no, McAfee wanted more. And he ended up going up against Vince McMahon in a match. And Vince McMahon won the match, humiliating Pat McAfee, which, we very much ripped that to shreds. And then, of course, was the big unification match, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. They hyped it as the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. To be honest, it did not live up to that hype. It did not. But Roman Reigns, further adding to his reign of terror, his dominance, unified the Universal and WWE Championships. And then we fast forward 1 month later to a site that our neck of the woods of Rhode Island had not seen in 13 years. A pay-per-view came back to Providence for the first time since 2009, WrestleMania Backlash. Myself, MF, Michael Bullock, we went to it, despite the fact that it was on Mother's Day, which I did not like personally, but thankfully everything worked out, and we got to go to it, and it was a great night. Ronda Rousey winning the SmackDown Women's Championship from Charlotte Flair. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins had another epic match. Rhea Ripley joined the Judgment Day that night, helping Edge defeat AJ Styles. And then, of course, that 6-man main event with Roman Reigns and the Usos against RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. A great night at the Amp for that show. Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes. That's what it was all about. Cody Rhodes. Gruesome injury, fought through the pain, and went on to defeat Seth frickin' Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. Money in the Bank, a crowning achievement for a beautiful young dreamer of a girl in Liv Morgan, realizing her childhood dream and becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion after cashing in the Money in the Bank on Ronda Rousey. And then, a few weeks later, WWE changed forever. A sight we never thought we would see until the day this man, we thought we weren't going to see this until the day this man frankly passed away. Vince McMahon announced his retirement from WWE July 22nd of this year, which changed the landscape, not just of WWE, but also of professional wrestling forever. Triple H was inserted was given the keys to the car, if you will. Head of creative, Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan named co-CEOs. And WWE took off like that. The product improved. The morale of the company improved. And we saw that firsthand at SummerSlam, the 30th of July, with the returns of Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky. And of course, the show that was headlined by the greatest last man standing match of all time, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, for the undisputed Universal Championship. Not much to speak about in the month of August, but then in the month of September, the 3rd of September, Clash at the Castle. What a sight. 62,000 fans at Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. The first WWE event to be held there in 30 years, going back to the 92 SummerSlam. A show that was met with universal praise, not just from us on this show, but from everybody else in the IWC and social media. Expect that show to come up a lot tonight, if you know what I mean. Gunther and Sheamus stole the damn show. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Also, almost every match on that show was show stealer worthy. And then from there, in October, we saw Extreme Rules, where we saw Ronda Rousey regain the SmackDown Women's title from Liv Morgan in an Extreme Rules match. We saw the return of the Fight Pit, which I know MF loved, because I know how much MF loves the Fight Pit. Seth freaking Rollins and Matt Riddle. They tore it down. The Donnybrook match with the Imperium and the Brawling Brutes, and so much more. And then our second Saudi Arabia show, Crown Jewel, headlined by Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the Undisputed Universal Championship. Sleeper Fight of the Year. That's not one of our awards, but if there was an award for Sleeper Fight of the Year, that damn sure would get it. Well, the first time in Survivor Series history and the first time in the main roster, we saw War Games. War Games on the main roster. After it had been done in NXT many of times, but we got it. Team Bianca versus Team Bayley. And of course, Team Brawling Brutes versus Team Bloodline. Both matches delivered in spades. And then, of course, we closed the year with NXT Deadline, where we witnessed the New Day make history, becoming Triple Crown Tag Team Champions. Iron Survivors were crowned. Roxanne Perez and Grayson Waller. All in all, a 50-50 year for WWE. The first half of the year under McMahon, but the second half under Triple H and company, far better. And things will only get better going forward for them. And we will close out the year this Friday night with a highly anticipated tag team matchup. Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens and John Cena. And we'll get into that Friday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk. In AEW, a new era of AEW Dynamite as Dynamite switched from TNT over to TBS. And on that very first show, we saw new tag team champions crowned in Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus winning the titles. Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page, renewing their rivalry for the World Heavyweight Championship. And, of course, the month of March, the pay-per-view Revolution, solid show. And then, of course, we also saw on St. Patrick's Day, we saw Thunder Rosa realize her dream of becoming the AEW Women's World Champion inside the steel cage against Dr. Britt Baker in San Antonio. We also saw the first ever Owen Hart tournament, to benefit the Owen Hart Foundation. One for the men, one for the women. And one of the golden couples of professional wrestling, Adam Cole and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, went on to win those respective tournaments. Double or Nothing also saw CM Punk complete his full circle moment, becoming the World Heavyweight Champion of All Elite Wrestling. But the celebration was short-lived. After only a few days, he suffered a severe foot injury that took him out. Enter Jon Moxley, who would have the best year of his career. We opened the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, Chicago, United Center, where superstars of New Japan Pro Wrestling and superstars of All Elite Wrestling engaged in a card's worth of of dynamic matches from top to bottom, headlined by Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi for the World Heavyweight Championship, the interim World Heavyweight Championship. We also saw another Grand Slam show at Arthur Ashe Stadium, where the Acclaimed realized their dream to become AEW World Tag Team Champions. And we also saw several instant classic matches down there. And then, of course, how about Full Gear, where Maxwell Jacob Friedman became the World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Jon Moxley. Jamie Hayter becoming the Women's Champion. Too many memorable moments to count. But there was some controversy in AEW. All Out after the pay-per-view, the media scrum. CM Punk, Ace Steel, the Elite, went at it. And we thought that was going to mark the beginning of the end for AEW, but AEW, bounced back, and some big and new things coming from them in 2023. And then in Impact Wrestling, what else is there to say except it was the year of Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander became the World Heavyweight Champion at the Rebellion pay-per-view, and has been champion ever since. And the standout moment just a few weeks ago when he and Speedball Mike Bailey had an absolute banger of a match that should most certainly be in people's ballots for fight of the year, for match of the year. Will it be enough to be match of the year? We'll find out in a bit. But those were all the real standout moments to me in the promotions that I follow: WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling. I mean, we don't have enough time to get through all the great moments, but those were the ones that really stood out to me. And I look forward to seeing what 2023 will bring, especially in WWE, with Papa H running things. And, we got the Royal Rumble coming up next month. And, of course, we got an event in Providence coming up on March the 13th with Monday Night Raw. We'll get to see the WrestleMania sign. Looking forward to that. And, just I don't know what else there is to say that hasn't been said already. So for me, that's it for me. So MF, come on in. Now, you follow WWE, you follow AEW. Of course, you also, from time to time, follow Impact Wrestling. But you follow other promotions. You cover New Japan Pro Wrestling. You also cover AAA in Mexico. Of course, your friends over at the Renegade Wrestling Alliance, the RWA. I know I'm sure you've got some things you want to share with about that. So MF, come on in and let's get your thoughts on 2022, your standout favorite moments or what have you in the world of professional wrestling in this calendar year.
Yeah, no, like you said, Anthony, we've had a lot of great moments. I think you pretty much summed up everything for WWE and for AEW. I kind of feel like it all starts, with New Japan. It all starts with the biggest of them all, Wrestle Kingdom, back in the Tokyo Dome, January 4, January 5, and for the first time ever, January 6. But the sixth one was a special show because it battled New Japan Pro and Pro Wrestling Noah in a special cross battle promotions. Going into New Japan, going into January 4, there was basically Jay White was the guy. He was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the world, going in to battle it out with Kotoshika Okada, the Rainmaker, and just like that, it was the night for Jay White as he successfully defended the title. Basically, running into that year, Kenta had shown back up, costing costing Okada the world title. Okada was determined to become the world champion again. Did not happen. Was unsuccessful at that moment. Um, Relatively speaking, with other stuff that happened, there was a lot of big moments. Will Ospreay signified himself as a major force in New Japan Pro Wrestling that year, and actually became the Intercontinental Champion. And really, a lot of people started thinking that, oh boy, this could be the year for him as well. So what we were going to get remains to be seen, remains to be, kind of a very interesting look more than anything else. But it really was one of those things that really kind of put a lot of things in perspective. Then in March, Ring of Honor dropped a major surprise. As many of you guys know, Ring of Honor was out of the business, was out of wrestling for a little while. And on March 2nd, Ring of Honor was purchased by Tony Khan, the owner of AEW. And a lot of people at first was like, oh, this is great. This is going to be a great thing. We're going to have a great moment. This could be the start of something great for Ring of Honor. Then there was a little talk that it looks like there's a possibility that they could end up being a company that could end up giving them a threat, giving them some fear that, maybe the company could end up being, a developmental like NXT was. Well, what more like what NXT 2.0 was at the very beginning. Because remember, NXT at the start wasn't a developmental. Everybody knows NXT was their own brand, their own company, their own style, their own everything. And a lot of people were a little concerned, thinking, well, this might not be a good thing. We don't know. Could this be a good thing? Could this really help the company? Would this be the start of something special? Well, a lot of people had their opinions. A lot of people didn't really know what to expect. But at the end of the day, I think, relatively speaking, I thought they did a fine job at handling the moments that they needed it to handle. Now, was it going to be perfect? Most likely not. But at the end of the day, there was a major roller coaster more than anything else, and a lot of things was to be interesting, to say the very least. But it was what it was. So then after that, like you said, you had the pipe bomb promo by MJF that kind of took him out of the business. And then, of course, New Japan and AEW did the cross promotional event from Chicago. That was, and at the time, it was pretty well done. Was it perfect? Not necessarily, but there was a lot of historical moments. There was a lot of good stuff that came out of it. I think a lot of people were expecting some higher expectation, but look, they did the right thing. It was an incredible show, and at the end of the day, I thought they did fine for what it was worth. Of course, after that, with AEW, or I should say for New Japan, you had a lot of good looks, a lot of good things that came out of it. You know, was there going to be an evolution? Was there going to be something special? Well, we'll have to wait and see. All we know is that now New Japan uh, is definitely on a collision course, and now with everything going on, because now the first major event, like everybody knows, is New Japan's biggest event of the year, the biggest show, which is Wrestle Kingdom. Oh, by the way, that show will be going down very soon, January 4, from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. And already the show is starting to come to life. The lineup is getting stronger. And the thing is, unlike the other years, um, there's only going to be one show, one event, and it's going to be at the Dome, the Tokyo Dome. It will kick off at per the usual um, on January 4th. New Year's Dash will be January 5th, and then you'll have some other events coming up. But I will say this, the match lineup or the match card for New Japan for the Tokyo Dome is already starting to look very, very, very good. Um, of course, at the end, we'll wait and see how it plays out, but it will be an interesting event, to say the very least. So you'll have the Junior Tag League champions, Yo and Leo Rush. They're going to be fighting for the Junior Tag Team titles. Then we got ta- then, of course, for the first time ever in New Japan Pro Wrestling, there will be an official women's title fight. As everybody knows, Stardom, which is the all-female wrestling organization, inked a deal with New Japan and actually announced that they were going to work together and become a company that they were going to bring women's wrestling to Japan, which was unheard of. Kairi Sane won the title. She's the first ever champion. She will be putting that title on the line against Tam Nakiomo. That will be a one-on-one match. That will be at the big event. Of course, you got other championship fights, and of course, the main event, the one the whole world's been waiting for. It will be the IWGP World Heavyweight Title, number one challenger, and G1 Climax champion Karushika Okada will be fighting the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the Switchblade, Jay White. That will be the biggest event of the year. And then one other match that's going to be highly anticipated and everybody's waiting for, Will Ospreay putting the IWGP United States Heavyweight title on the line against Kenny Omega, the Cleaner. That's the big thing that would happen there. So, now, as far as RWA goes, their wrestling year has been very interesting. Of course, through the pandemic and everything else, up and down their year has been, but one constant has been always the same. They always were able to entertain the fans, and they'll always have the way that the show will go. The Insane Dick Lane realized his dream by becoming the RWA Heavyweight Champion of the World. Right around the summertime, he won the title, knocking it off of the Riot Kellen Thomas. Now, after he left, right before he left, he surrendered the world title because of things that was beyond his control. Mainly, some stuff was happening homebound, so he had to go and take care of his family business, and he gave up the belt. Now, at the time that he surrendered the belt, that ended up being a moment for him, as he ended up where we had the crowning of a new champion, and then months later, Stephen Luss wins the world title, and had the belt for about 2 to 3 months. Shady Shay Cash won the RWA World Heavyweight Championship by cheating, had the working class heroes helping him, and also was in the back pocket of the general manager, David Morales. Now, Morales is what was the manager of basically was the manager of the one and only of the St. Nick Lane. Then what happened was when Dick left, he got signatures by the RWA faithful to try to pull, just to say like a thank you for the fans. Well, we thought it was. We later found out that no, he actually petitioned RWA management that he wanted it to be the general manager for the company. Well, he did and got his way. Well, that ended up being a disaster of a decision because all it did was cause a politician to have an abuse of power. And we all know what happened next. So he made life miserable for many guys. And if you were on his side, you got all the glory, all the opportunities that you wanted. If you were against them, well, in the case of Kellen Thomas, the Riot, he got fired from RWA for no cause, no reason, no rhyme or reason. He was basically let go by the company. But at the end of the day, they were able to turn it around, and lo and behold, the powers to be got Kellen Thomas back. But there's been some interesting stuff that happened towards the end of the year of RWA. Shady Shay Cash did successfully defend this title over a number of guys. Most recently, fighting Big Daddy T Phoenix at the Columbus Theater for RWA Goes Broadway. Now, at the end of that event, David Morales was talking about that he wanted it to destroy the Phoenix legacy and was going to do that by giving the Phoenix legacy an opportunity to be destroyed by Shady Shay Cash. AJP takes the opportunity, who is the younger son of Big Daddy T Phoenix. Now AJP ended up winning the RWA World Heavyweight Championship, and now he is the champion going into 2023 for the RWA. For Ring of Honor, after their return back, the Octopus, who was the Octopus himself, Grisham, won the title from Jay Lethal and became the RWA, the Ring of Honor World Champion. Now, he was the champion until some stuff had happened, was stripped of the belt by Tony Khan, and that's when Claudio Castagnoli became the Ring of Honor World Champion. Well, he was the champion until Chris Jericho got the belt, and just recently at the last Ring of Honor show, Claudio Castagnoli has now regained the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. Of course, the tag team title situation was also very heavily in play as well, but the Briscoes are now the champions again. The belts were dropped by FTR. Of course, FTR having that amazing 2022 for themselves, being the IWGP, the AAA, and Ring of Honor World Tag Champions. But they did lose the Ring of Honor belts, but they still do have the other two. We'll get into that in a little bit. Of course, as it pertains to AAA, basically this year has been the El Hijo de Vecino's year. After winning the belt a year ago, he has held the belt ever since, has not relinquished that title. As far as all the other major belts, Taya Valkyrie makes her return to AAA and become the Reina de Reinas champions winning the belt back, and she has held the belt ever since there. The other big thing that was talking about was the Wheel de Muertes. Basically, it was a tournament with all masked men that the ultimate loser of the tournament would have to unmask. Well, Blue Demon Jr. was the ultimate loser, losing in the finals to Pentagon Jr. or Penta El Zero Miedo for all you guys on AEW. So he was able to save the mask for himself. And yeah, Anthony, that was a lot of the things that happened outside of the big two that we normally talk about. So for you, it's back to you, my friend.
All right. So with that, it's awards time. And we're going to start it off with our breakout star of the year. And this one's not even close. It's Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez is the 2022 breakout star of the year on my end. No doubt about this one. Was a part of the first ever winning team for the female Dusty Cup. Became a co-holder of the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship with Cora Jade. She also went on to win the Breakout tournament as well. Also, this month, the month of December it was for her, on the 10th, she went at the deadline event, went on to become the first ever Women's Iron Survivor winner, which earned her the right to challenge for the NXT Women's Championship. Just a few days later, she did just that. 3 days later, on NXT, and Roxanne Perez became the new NXT Women's Champion, ending the long reign of Mandy Rose as the Women's Champion. And as I said when we did our Wednesday night Madness show last week, when we talked about that sit-down interview that she did with her trainer, Booker T, if you thought this year was big for her, just imagine how much bigger, or just as big, 2023 is going to be. First things first, I think, I don't know when, it's not a matter of if in 2023, it's a matter of when in 2023 she gets called up to the main roster of WWE. She will. But I think they'll give her a solid run with the NXT Women's Championship for right now. I don't know if it's going to be as long as Mandy's run was, but, we'll have to wait and find out. But no doubt about it, that young lady's got a future so bright, we all have to wear shades. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So for me, breakout star of 2022, Roxanne Perez. MF, do you agree with that, or do you have somebody else?
No, this is a runaway. This was Roxanne Perez. Yeah, I don't even think there's even anyone that can come even close to what Roxanne has done. She has broken out. And only being 21 years old, definitely had an incredible year. I think the only one that I would have said, if she would have stayed healthy, probably would have been Nikita Lyons. I think she would have been the other one that I would have thought of, at least for breakout. But nah, man, this you nailed it. Roxanne Perez is clearly by far the biggest winner. And no, I had no argument for me. So no, Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF, and you start the next one. Moment of the year. What was the moment of the year in professional wrestling in 2022?
To me, easily Cody Rhodes making his debut back in WWE at WrestleMania. There were rumors about it, and you never knew if it was going to happen or not. After he left AEW, the presumption was that he was coming back to WWE, and the minute he came back, but the thing was, he came back as the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He didn't come back as Stardust, didn't come back. He literally took his AEW gimmick and brought it to WWE. That, my friends, was massive. Huge moment, big deal. For me, just seeing Cody back in WWE, we saw it firsthand with the pageantry and everything else. It was amazing. And if it wasn't for the injury that he suffered, I think we'd be talking about Cody having really like we be talking about him maybe as a champion right now. But at the end of the day, I thought that was the biggest moment for me. Cody Rhodes making his grand return at the granddaddy of them all at WrestleMania, and my God, did he make the most of his moment coming back to me? So I thought that was the moment of the year. Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, dude. You want to hear a pop? That was a pop in itself. So, Anthony, it's yours.
If we had an award for Pop of the Year, that definitely would have won it. No question about that. When it comes to in ring and on camera, yes, and on or in ring, on screen, what have you, yes, I 100% agree. It is Cody Rhodes when it comes to moment of the year, making his return at WrestleMania night one as the mystery opponent, the hand-picked opponent of Vince McMahon for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And on top of that, those two ended up having the fight of the night. We already know that. So, yeah, the pop was just insane. And, we'll never forget it. But when it comes to out of the ring and off screen, the moment of the year, without a doubt, is Vince McMahon's retirement. I mean, let's not forget about Vinnie Mac's retirement. I mean, came out of nowhere back on July 22nd on a Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon, early evening. We got the word of it, and we were so excited going into that SmackDown that night, which was at the TD Garden in Boston. I mean, this was just a week and change before SummerSlam. We were so excited to see what was going to happen. And it took a little bit for it to get going, but once we got to that Raw in Madison Square Garden, that's really where it all happened. And then WWE as a whole got so much better. And let's hope it stays that way in 2023 and beyond. So, yes, the overall moment of the year is Cody Rhodes' return at WrestleMania, but you definitely also have to consider Vince McMahon's retirement on July 22nd. That's just as much of a moment of the year as Cody's epic return at Mania, no doubt. All right, next up, Tag Team of the Year. Now, I know a lot of people out there in the IWC and social media. I know there's a lot of people that say FTR. I know there's a lot of people that say the Usos. MF?
No, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, it's between one of those two. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But for me, I have to base it off body of work, and I also have to base it off of, out of dominance right now and who the hot hand is. And for right now, I have to go with the Usos. I got to say the Usos are my tag team of the year for 2022. I mean, incredible matches. That's one thing. But until they get beat, I mean, who else can you go with? I mean, yes, FTR had a great year as well. When they became the AAA Tag Team Champions, the IWGP Tag Team Champions, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Great year for them, no doubt about that. But for right now, you have to go with the Usos based on the fact that, May 20th of this year on a Friday Night SmackDown unified the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships into the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. And they've been the champions since. And they have been just on an absolute tear. And, they are just, they are the hottest team right now in professional wrestling this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, and they just keep getting better and better as we go along, better and better with matches and the whole nine, and so many incredible matches, with the New Day and the Brawling Brutes and the Street Profits, but just that overall body of work. How can you not go with the Usos? I mean, FTR is right there. I mean, I could also give you the Motor City Machine Guns from Impact Wrestling as well. I mean, you could certainly make an argument for the Acclaimed after how they came out of nowhere.
Briscoes and Ring of Honor, you could definitely put them in the mix, but
definitely the Briscoes.
It's you're right, Anthony. It is Usos. That's my vote for tag team of the year as well. What they've done has these two teams have revolutionized wrestling, tag team wrestling as we know it, and it's only going to get better. But the thing is, I mean, yes, I mean, we're there's been a lot of up and down, and a lot of people's been a little concerned about especially the booking of FTR, especially in the last couple of months, where there's been no concern about the Usos. The Usos have been consistent, where FTR lately they've been roller coasting. There's been a couple of bad moments for them lately that kind of, in my opinion, cost them the tag team of the year honors in my mind. So no, I'm with you on it, Anthony. You got it right. Tag team of the year is the Usos.
Absolutely. So that's all there is there. Next up, comeback. The comeback wrestler of the year. MF, I think we all know who gets this one.
Oof. Well, I guess you want to say Punk, CM.
You can make an argument. Well, this actually might be a little more tougher than we thought. But do you have somebody who you felt was the comeback wrestler?
Of course, Punk, because of the fact of his journey, the road that he went through, finally becoming the AEW World Champion. I mean, that is one. I don't know. I don't think there's anybody else. Maybe Kenny Omega, because of it, where he was coming from and his comeback, but I know his was kind of pretty late because he kind of missed almost the entire 2022. So you had that going. I don't know. I mean, who did you have in mind? Just honestly, truthfully.
Cody. Cody Rhodes.
You know what? You're right. He's also a guy that you could keep you have your eye on too. Yeah, no, you're right. Cody's definitely there. I think it's between Punk and Cody though. Honestly.
Yeah. And CM Punk winning the World Heavyweight Championship on multiple occasions, but unfortunately, for both of these men, big things happened, but unfortunately, it didn't lead to anything long term because Cody got injured, and then CM Punk, of course, ended up getting suspended, and because of that incident after All Out, and we haven't seen or heard from him since.
Yeah, chances are he's probably gone with the company.
So I have to say, maybe by default, it would have to be Cody Rhodes.
I agree with that.
Leaving AEW, the company that he had literally helped jumpstart, and for him to go all the way, and for him to go back to the WWE, and have that incredible series of matches with Seth Rollins, that trilogy, which was WrestleMania, and then WrestleMania Backlash in Providence, and then of course the Hell in a Cell, where he competed despite that horrific injury, and still did what he did. And I have to say, by a smidge, it would have to be Cody Rhodes. So I think that's the only tough award of the night. I think the rest of the way, it should be a little bit on the easier side. I think we'll have easier times with our remaining awards. And next up, pay-per-view of the year. And I don't think there's any doubt about this one. Clash at the Castle. Clash at the Castle. Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales. Sheamus and Gunther, the 5-star classic for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. A night that we thought Drew McIntyre was going to end the reign of the Tribal Chief as the undisputed champion. I mean, MF was one of the very few who actually had Roman winning that match. I had Drew winning the titles. Bullock had Drew winning the titles. But MF and the guy who we used to work with, he actually had Roman winning this match as well. And go figure, Roman Reigns ended up successfully defending because of Solo Sikoa. I'll tell you what, if Drew had won the titles, that would have been the moment of the year. That would have been the moment of the year. That would have surpassed Cody's return at WrestleMania if Drew had won the titles. No doubt about it. But Rollins and Riddle, they tore the house down. Of course, we can't forget about Damage Control going up against Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. And then, of course, that was also the night that Dominic Mysterio, they finally pulled the trigger and turned Dominic heel, having him turn against his father and aligning with the Judgment Day, where he's been since. And, of course, his year did not end the way he was planning on it, but after what happened Christmas Eve night. But go on.com and see the story there, but or WWE social media. But what I do know is Clash at the Castle. I mean, just that overall atmosphere, 62,000 plus at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. I mean, the crowd, the atmosphere, the body of work of the matches, especially Gunther and Sheamus, and especially Roman and Drew. I mean, just amazing. And of course, that match also featured the main roster debut of Solo Sikoa, and that event was just so fun. And I'm hopeful that they'll do more shows like that in years to come. But and the overwhelming success it had for the company financially and streaming wise, and just made so much history. And it was just such a sight to see. I mean, there were a lot of great events this year. Don't get us wrong. There were a lot of great events, but I think that one is the most worthy of being named the pay-per-view event of the year. So not much more to say here. MF, let's get your thought on pay-per-view of the year, and then I'll catch Bullock up. So Clash at the Castle for you too?
Now it is Clash at the Castle. I don't think there's any debate with this one. If you do want to make a debate for New Japan, obviously Wrestle Kingdom, or you could even make an argument for New Japan Dominion. That show was absolutely insane, to say the very least. There was some really good stuff on that night too. But I mean, Clash at the Castle. This was really the coming out moment for Triple H's new regime in WWE. The vision was more clear than ever before, especially after that night. We kind of felt like, all right, now they've arrived. Now we're like, SummerSlam was kind of the first glimpse of it, but we saw Triple H's vision of WWE in full display after that night. This was the night that kind of we all were like, oh my God, if they keep this up, they're gonna, WWE is almost all the way back. And I think we all kind of felt it that night that was the moment we all were waiting for. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's back to you, bro.
All right, Michael Bullock, Phenom, come on in. Let's get you caught up. First things first, Bullock, your standout / favorite moments from professional wrestling on your end. Obviously, you only follow WWE and AEW. Your standout moments, and I already know the one that really stood out for you most of all, and the one that you'll never forget for as long as you live, was when you got to see your man, The Undertaker, take his rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2022 as the headliner.
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, that to me was the standout moment for me. I mean, in professional wrestling, the night when the man, the phenom, my all-time favorite, The Undertaker, took his rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, it's a night that nobody will ever forget. And we were watching it, Florio, when I had you on the phone, and just hearing the crowd give the appreciation to the Undertaker, which he so rightfully deserves. I mean, the standing ovation, I mean, that he got that night. I mean, Hulk Hogan got like a, what was it, like he had like a 10-minute, or he had a pretty long standing ovation, but the Undertaker's was far longer. I mean, the you deserve it chants that was going on, and it's a night that I'll never forget, that WWE fans will never forget, as the Phenom, The Undertaker, took his rightful place in the Hall of Fame. I mean, whether you're an Undertaker fan or just a pro wrestling fan in general, just to hear what he had to say that night, and the things that it was without a doubt the greatest Hall of Fame induction acceptance speech that we have ever seen during the time they have this Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I mean, like I said, it's a night that I'll never forget. Now, another standout moment for me, and I think you guys can agree, and that was the night when Vince McMahon announced his retirement, and the whole landscape of WWE changed forever.
Yep, we addressed that, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, before that, many of us thought that this day would never come. But the moment we heard the news, and we were like, wait a minute, is this really happening? And that's what happened. And like I said, the landscape of WWE changed forever, and look at it now. All the programming has been so much better now, and it makes everybody want to be a WWE fan once again. And that's what happened. And I mean, under this new regime, I mean, we've seen far better matches and so better shows. So yeah, I mean, that to me is like another one of the standout moments. But as far as I'm concerned, for overall, obviously for me, it is The Undertaker going into the WWE Hall of Fame.
All right, so if you're all set with that, we'll get into the awards, our year-end awards that we've done.
Yeah, Yep, I'm all set.
All right. We did some awards. We're gonna get you caught up on here. Breakout Star of the Year. MF and I both we both selected Roxanne Perez. Are you gonna make that unanimous, or do you have somebody else?
Oh yeah, Roxanne Perez to me was the breakout star of this year, and it all culminated, of course, with her becoming the NXT Women's Champion and ending the dominant reign of Mandy Rose, which we didn't know when it was going to end, and she closed out 2022 with a bang. I mean, if you thought that was really good, I'm interested to see what 2023 is going to bring for this young lady. I mean, she's literally getting her feet wet, and I think things are only going to get much better for her.
Oh, absolutely. Moment of the year. MF and I, we went with Cody Rhodes' return at WrestleMania. But if I don't know if you agree with that, but or if you had the Undertaker going into the Hall of Fame or some other moment.
Man, that's a tough one.
Or Vince's retirement.
I mean, there's so many ones, but in my opinion, I mean, you know what? I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Cody Rhodes returning to WWE because remember, I mean, and I know you guys talked about it. He left a company that he helped created. I mean, in AEW, and we all thought that he was going to try to put WWE out of business, and then the rumors came about of that he was going to return. And I'm like thinking, there's no way this was going to happen. And the moment we heard that he signed the contract, I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And we were wondering, of course, the night of WrestleMania, who was going to be Seth Rollins' opponent. And the moment you heard the music, the crowd just literally erupted big time. And you could just see the emotion coming out of Cody Rhodes with him coming back to the company that he was once a part of. And so, as much as I want to say the Undertaker going in the Hall of Fame is that moment, I got to go with Cody Rhodes because it all goes back to we all thought he would never leave the company that he helped created.
All right. Next up, we had the tag team of the year. MF and I both gave it to the Usos. What says you?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind it's the Usos. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, with this now as the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history, I think it definitely makes it a point that they are, without a doubt, the tag team of the year. I mean, you can make a case for so many others, but with the way the Usos have just been so dominant, especially as part of the bloodline, how can you not say the Usos?
All right. We had a bit of a time with the comeback wrestler of the year, but we gave it to Cody Rhodes. I don't know if you agree with that, or CM Punk, or whoever.
Oh yeah, I think Cody Rhodes is the comeback of the year as far as I'm concerned, and again, it all goes back to the same things I said when it comes to moment of the year.
And the award we just handed out was pay-per-view of the year. MF and I again agreed it was Clash at the Castle. Unanimous again, or do you have another event?
Unanimous again. I mean, Clash at the Castle. I mean, was the best pay-per-view of 2022. I mean, when you have, of course, so many really good matches we saw that night with. I mean, you had, of course, the match that literally stole the damn show, and that was Gunther and Sheamus for the Intercontinental title. I mean, that was one of the greatest Be a Man fights ever. I mean, just the way that those two literally left it on the in the ring. I mean, it was smash mouth. It was hard hitting. It was everything that left Michael Fletcher smiling like a Cheshire cat, because we all know how much he loves Be a Man fights, and that was what we saw, the equivalent of a Be a Man fight. And then, of course, you had, of course, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal title. And I mean, all the matches were good, but those were the real standouts of that Clash at the Castle.
And just that overall atmosphere, and everything else just made that event so damn special and so damn fun to watch. So definitely, we will not forget that event soon enough.
Yeah, and if that doesn't make you a wrestling fan, I don't know what the hell will.
Good point. All right. You're all caught up now, Bullock. So now we're going to move on to our next award, which is Match of the Year. Yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there. I mean, you can make an argument for quite a few. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, the last man standing match from SummerSlam. You can make an argument for Josh Alexander and Speedball Mike Bailey from the December 8th edition of Impact Wrestling, Bullock's birthday, when they had that hour-long battle for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. For me personally, that was my favorite match of the year. But when it comes to overall match of the year, it's Gunther and Sheamus. Gunther and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship from Clash at the Castle. 5-star classic. Shakespearean drama, be a man fight, and I mean the crowd made that match fun. Commentary made that match fun, and the incredible near falls and just the overall action in that match. You know, it was a sight for all of us, and it was an instant classic. None of us will ever forget it, and I don't know if you'll ever see a better match than that if you live to be 100 years old. So, like I said, for me personally, my personal favorite match of the year was the Josh Alexander Speedball Mike Bailey Impact World Title match from the Impact Wrestling on December the 8th. But overall, when it comes to match of the year, you got to go with Gunther and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship from Clash at the Castle. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So, MF, your match of the year.
It's the same thing with you. The official match of the year for me is Gunther versus Sheamus. Personally, I gotta go back to Wrestle Kingdom back in January, and it was, I want to say, I believe it was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay, 1-on-1. Technical prowess at its finest. It was unbelievable. But Gunther and Sheamus went a whole new level, and to do it in Cardiff, Wales, and we were talking about how if these two just let it go, and they made that match so amazing that it's so hard for us to go against that one. So no, personally, Gunther and Sheamus is the fight of the year. It is. There's no doubt. Bullock, it's yours.
Oh yeah, for me personally, it's Gunther versus Sheamus. I mean, like I said, earlier, it was Smash Mouth. It was a be a man fight. It was Shakespearean drama all around, and man, it was just something that a wrestling fan, enjoyed. And to me personally, and Florio, I know you're going to agree with me on this one. That night, that match was the match that made that Intercontinental Championship prestigious again.
Amen.
Agreed.
Before all that, under the old regime, we were like,
it was a joke.
It was a joke.
They treated it
But
like a joke.
that night was the night that Intercontinental Championship became prestigious once again.
Here.
And on top of that, it also made us believe in the Triple H regime. This was the moment where we were like, all right, SummerSlam was the first, but this was the night that made us say WWE was back and better than ever. They had risen from the ashes, and this was the moment we knew that AEW was in big trouble because WWE had come back in such a way that we were like, oh my god.
Exactly.
Amen to that, brother.
I agree. Yep.
All right. So with that, we move on to our next award. MF, we'll start it off. MF, female wrestler of the year. Who you got?
I gotta go Bianca Belair. Bianca gets the award again. And the reason why, it all stems from her run after WrestleMania. After winning the title from Becky Lynch, holding the belt that she has done, and literally proven why she is the EST of WWE. She has absolutely been a phenomenal champion. Now, I know a lot of people may disagree with that, and I know a lot of people would say, but well, what about for the others? Granted, I think you definitely have to consider maybe Jamie Hayter. I know there's going to be a lot of people say, hey, wait a minute, what about Deonna Purrazzo from Impact Wrestling? What her run? Granted, I'm not going to deny that, but as far as overall body of work and everything that has been done, to me, I gotta go. I gotta go with Bianca Belair. I don't think there's anybody who has come even close to what Bianca has done this calendar year. And this was a tough call, but I gotta give it to Bianca Belair. I think Bianca wins this one. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you, my friend.
Man, this is a tough one here, but after everything good old MF Michael Fletcher just said, I got to agree with him. I got to go with Bianca Belair. I mean, after everything, after winning the title at WrestleMania against Becky Lynch, she just has been a dominant champion. You could make the case for so many others, and you know there are even some that are going to say, wait a minute, what about not just Jamie Hayter in AEW, but what about Jade Cargill? But the thing is, and I thought about this. Bianca Belair, she puts on really good matches depending on who she's in there with, whether it's Becky Lynch or whoever. So after hearing everything Fletch said, I can't deny it. I got to go with Bianca Belair. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, it is the EST. There's no question. You could also make an argument for Toni Storm in AEW. You could also make an argument for Thunder Rosa and maybe even Camille from NWA. But in all honesty, it is Bianca Belair. When it comes to the Raw Women's Division, she is the frontline soldier, and you guys know how much I bleed that team red, and she has become such not only the face of that division, but she's starting to become, like a global sensation, like an ambassador almost. But because she's just, the hardest working woman in that division, and I'm just so proud to have her on Team Red. I mean, yes, she did have a good run on SmackDown as well. But let's be realistic. I think her time on Raw has been better than it was on SmackDown. And 268 days and counting as the Raw Women's Champion, 268. She is currently the second longest running champion in WWE, only behind Roman. Well, actually, she's the third longest. I beg your pardon. She's the third longest behind Roman Reigns and the Usos. 268 days, about to go on to 269 days as champion. And she'll be at 275 days when we get to that Monday Night Raw next week when she battles it out for when she defends the Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss as part of that big double main event. But yeah, I mean, the body of work, just her overall work ethic and just, she's just such a pleasure to watch. And I am just so grateful for the incredible work she has done in carrying the Raw Women's division since winning the title at WrestleMania. And this year for her was even better than 2021. So there's no doubt about that. And another one with bigger and better things on the horizon for her. No doubt about that. So female wrestler of the year, there's no doubt about it. It is Bianca Belair. Final award of the night, the male wrestler of the year, Michael Bullock. Who you got?
Man, oh man, oh man. I mean, this is another tough one. I mean, you got so many. You can make the case for so many when it comes to male wrestler of the year, but I gotta go with the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. I mean, he continues his dominant reign as now, of course, the undisputed Universal title. And of course, he became the undisputed Universal Champion the night of WrestleMania when he unified both titles, and he has shown why he is the head of the table and the tribal chief. And of course, I don't know about these two, but I am going to, as he would like to say, acknowledge him. It's yours, Florio.
Well, you can make an argument for Jon Moxley in AEW. You could certainly make an argument for Josh Alexander in Impact Wrestling. You can make an argument for Vikingo, El Hijo del Fankingo in Mexico and AAA. You can make an argument for Jay White, Kazuchika Okada in Japan. But there's only one winner. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, once again, our male wrestler of the year. Until he gets beat, who do you go with? If he had gotten beat, it would have been between Moxley and Alexander for me. Because of what Josh Alexander has done in Impact as the World Heavyweight Champion since winning that title in April at Rebellion when he knocked off Moose. He's been the champion since, and he will go into 2023 as the champion. And that big title defense against Bully Ray at Hard to Kill on January 13. And Moxley with how he carried AEW in the summer, especially after CM Punk got hurt, and running with the AEW World Heavyweight Championship and becoming the face of AEW. And you certainly make an argument for him, no doubt about that. But Roman, I mean, yeah, he's being more like, Brock Lesnar was, like when Brock Lesnar was holding the titles hostage. But he's become that box office attraction whenever he wrestles, whether it's a title match or not. And that's certainly going to be the case Friday night when he teams with Sami Zayn to take on John Cena and Kevin Owens. It's the biggest non-title match of this year, and we're getting it right at the very end of the year. And we're going to have a lot to say about that Friday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk. You can bet your sweet bippy on that one. But he just keeps getting better and better and better. 849 days and counting as the undisputed Universal Champion after he unified the titles at Mania. And you can't argue that he's had so many incredible matches. I mean, the match with Riddle on SmackDown, the SummerSlam match with Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Clash at the Castle. That to me was his match of the year. Of course, let's not forget the match he had with Logan Paul that surprised the hell out of all of us at Crown Jewel. Banger after banger after banger. There is no question about that. And I predict that his run will end at WrestleMania. So that's just but then again, I said that last year and had egg on my face. So but then again, I think this upcoming WrestleMania at SoFi is where the run ends. But we'll see. But male wrestler of the year for 2022 is no doubt about it. It is Roman Reigns. MF, take it home.
Yeah, no arguments here. It's Roman Reigns. Roman, unbelievable year, dominating year. Um, like you said, if it wasn't for that, I don't think there's anything else we would have said at this point in the game. So yeah, I'm gonna openly admit as well. I believe Roman Reigns is the one that's gonna get there, and there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. So with that, MF, what are our start times for the rest of our shows this week? MF, our start times for we know Friday will be 11. That we know because it's after Rampage. I'm sure it'll be the usual times for Wednesday and Thursday. I'm sure. So all right. So with that will put the bow on this 2022 year in review special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, not just tonight, but all year long. Your support is overwhelming, and we're very grateful and appreciative of all of you out there. We can't say it enough, can't stress it enough. You are the best fans in the world, and you better believe 2023 is going to be, I believe, another great year when it comes to our shows. No question about that. So with that, that puts the bow on this. We'll next be with you Wednesday night, 10:30. I'm assuming 10:30 Wednesday night. It will be same show, only for the other show. It will be our TXN Sports World 2022 year in review special. We will share all of our favorite / standout moments in the year of sports, in the world of sports in 2022. And in addition to that, we're also going to preview the final Thursday night football game of the season, the Dallas Cowboys and the Tennessee Titans. And then in our main event, we will preview the New Year's 6 bowl games headlined by the college football playoff semifinals, TCU versus Michigan, and Georgia going up against Ohio State. So that'll be on Wednesday. Thursday night, 10:30, it will be the Week 17 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Thursday, where we will preview, we'll recap Cowboys Titans at some point during the show, and we will preview all the games of Week 17, but some good notable games. But of course, the headline game, no doubt about it, massive stakes in this one next Monday night, the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. Game of the year? Could be. We'll get into all that on Thursday night, along with some other great notable games. Friday night, we close out 2022 with our final show of the year, which will be MF and the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown, the big main event. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn versus John Cena and Kevin Owens. Of course, we also have Ronda Rousey and Raquel Rodriguez for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Sheamus versus Solo Sikoa. Big show Friday night. And then we'll also review AEW Rampage, and then next week we do it all again for our first show of 2023. It will be Ridiculously Raw. We'll review that first Raw 2023, where Austin Theory and Seth Rollins will battle for the United States Heavyweight Championship, and Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. And maybe we may even throw in some bonus commentary for that Bills-Bengals game. You never know if it's warranted. I got a feeling it will be. So we might do that as well. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for our TXN Sports World 2022 year in review show, Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, always and forever, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for our TXN Sports World Year in Review special, you've been watching the Talking Wrestling TXN Talking Wrestling TXN 2022 year in review special right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.